Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to COASTER-net Updates. We've got some breaking news out of Canada's Wonderland, where now we have an official date for the opening, or for the announcement of their new 2019 roller coaster, and that is 8/15. Now, that's not the news here, Danny, because we already mentioned that on a previous show. The news is that in a teaser at the park, they have a very interesting map with this date on top of it. So I'll throw this map up here. This is the Klondike Gold Rush map, basically, of all the gold fields within the Klondike region. Now, this has been the guiding campaign for us thus far, is that it's this Klondike Gold Rush. We saw it with the Chillicoot Trail stuff. We saw it with all the other teasers. And now finally we have this, and over it you have the 8/15. And right where the period for the 8/15 is right over a place called the Dome. Now, Danny, you're probably like, why is that even important, right?
Andy, why is that even important?
Why is that important? Because, Danny, I think it finally leads us to maybe not only settling on how big this thing is going to be, but also on a name for the ride. That we have a theme. Like, if we assume that they're going to stick with the Gold Rush stuff, maybe, I don't know. I'm not positive on it that this isn't just a big ruse like Carowinds likes to do.
Right.
But if they stick with it, we still don't have a name. The only thing that we've even come close to seeing is that we know last year they trademarked the ledge, and that wasn't for Canada though. I don't think they used that term for Canada where it was trademarked in Canada. Is the issue there.
I don't believe so.
So they would almost have to re-trademark that. I guess the ledge would make sense for a dive coaster, but Danny, I'm gonna throw a loop for you here. Okay.
Uh-oh, here we go. Strap in for Lake Erie Monster Part 2.
Here we go, Danny. I think it's gonna be called Ziz.
And that's the long-standing rumor, right?
Some people have backed off of it. Some people just assume.
But that always was because of Behemoth and Leviathan, because Ziz, if you don't know, Ziz is kind of like, Leviathan's the sea monster and Behemoth is the land monster and Ziz is like the air monster, to put it simply, right? I mean, but you're going to tell us the more detailed version.
So let's get into what Ziz is a little bit. So Leviathan and Behemoth are both named in the Old Testament, where they are there. So you have the sea monster, you have the ground monster, but so we also have this bunch of Jewish mythology though too, and this is where Ziz comes from. That Ziz comes from the Jewish mythology. That it's not actually in the Bible, but it was created to kind of say, well, we have something for the sea, we have something for the ground. Why wouldn't we have something for the air as well? So I'm no expert on Jewish mythology. I just know that's where it comes from. And everyone has kind of assumed that this is where Canada's Wonderland would go. And to me, Ziz makes sense as a dive coaster. And you'd be like, why wouldn't it be a wing coaster, right? Because that's what everyone would naturally.
Why wouldn't it be a wing coaster? Why wouldn't it be a flying coaster, Andy?
Well, because if you think about it, all the other dive coasters are basically based on birds. That Shikra's an African bird. Valraven is a medieval bird.
At least the American ones, yeah.
Yeah, Griffin. Yeah, the American ones is what I'm talking about. Griffin is.
Wait, Andy, we're not in America. We're in Canada.
Well, true. Well, we're in North America still, so that counts. It's still America.
I'm debunking your theory.
Yeah. So anyway, Griffin has wings on it, so it's still kind of like.
What about Hang Time? That's not themed to a bird. That's a dive coaster, Andy.
It's barely a dive coaster. So. Well, it actually does hang you there, so I'm not going to contend that point. Another thing about Ziz. So when you look up a bunch of different Wikipedia articles on Ziz, it says, while Leviathan is the primordial creature of the seas, with Behemoth being the ruler of the land, Ziz is the primordial beast that rules the sky. Ziz's size is as monstrous as Leviathan himself. It says that his ankles rest on the earth while his head reaches the very sky. So is this getting to a size now? Because a lot of people are saying that this dive coaster is going to be a giga dive. And
well, 286 was the rumored height or drop because of the two values that were on the Cedar Point teaser poster, a week or two ago.
And I'm not saying that it's going to be a giga dive, but I think this thing is going to be pretty big. I would assume it's going to be bigger than Valraven. So you would think that, right? So
Yeah.
even if it's 286 and Leviathan is what, 301, like that's still pretty dang close to one another there for being equal in size as in comparison. Now here's the kicker. There's one other thing, Danny, that I didn't mention before because I wanted to tie this whole Jewish thing into it. The dome is also known as King Solomon's Dome, which ties all the Jewish stuff together. To me, that's just really suspicious that they put the dot right over something that has a Jewish name tied to it already. It's called King Solomon's Dome. We know that he was a big king in the Old Testament, in Jewish mythology. There's even a whole bunch of Jewish mythology stories that have been modern day ones that have been created where King Solomon interacts with Ziz on a different basis.
Yeah.
Then you start getting into it. This is not the only. There's like Klondike. There's other companies out there. That one company that works in this area, that works in these gold fields, is called Kestrel Gold Incorporated, and it's kestrelgold.com. And guess what their logo is, Danny Miller?
I'm going to say it's a gold bird.
It's a big gold bird. It's a big gold bird. So there's also already precedent set. And that could be any – I've tried to look up reasonings for why that's their logo. I can't find it anywhere. I can't find it on their corporate website. Maybe someone else knows out there. To me, everything screams Ziz right now to me, Danny. And just because it's called Ziz, I know some people have said, well, how do you put in the whole lumberjack and frontier feel of that area that they're doing? Just because it's a bird doesn't mean that they're going to build like a Jewish synagogue around it. Like there's nothing stopping them from doing any type of theming that they want. That in the Klondike, this area, the King Solomon's Mine is in the Klondike. So why couldn't Ziz, the story, be set there as well? So I don't think.
I mean, Holiday World managed to make Thunderbird fit into Thanksgiving. So
yeah, seriously, so and they did it well too. And everyone's like, "Oh,
yeah." I mean, so who's to say a bird can't fit into a mining theme?
Yeah, like seriously.
We already themed a bird to pilgrims.
So I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say that it is a giga. I'm thinking it could be a giga based on this.
Or at least close.
At least close, like 14 feet. Like to me, that's going to, when it says that they're roughly the same size, well, 14 feet is roughly the same size, like for a roller coaster anyway. But I really feel like Ziz is the name for this new dive coaster, and I think it fits. I think everyone's going to be happy by it because I think a lot of people want to see this happen, and I think the clues are there that tie all this together.
Well, you've convinced me of this more so than your Lake Erie Monster theory.
You were all over Lake Erie Monster. You were like, yeah, this is going to be called Lake Erie Monster. You were all over it too.
I just wanted the hockey tie-in because of the Lake Erie Monsters. That's all I wanted. I wanted, they did the LeBron James thing. I wanted a hockey team partnership. I think this is certainly legitimate. I mean, we joke about the Lake Erie Monster thing, but at the end of the day, neither of us really thought that was definitely going to be it. I mean, that was sort of a far out there, but this one I think is a legitimate theory and is a legitimate possibility.
We don't have any other name right now, so there is no other name in the trademark.
No, the ledge is really the only other thing that it could.
It's a terrible name. It's a terrible name.
I agree.
So and realistically, now that we know Hang Time is called the dive coaster, they could have been trademarking that, and they were deciding between Hang Time and the ledge. That could have been for knots,
maybe
very, very well could have been. So this, I think, since we don't have anything real, information wise, and I think Ziz is my front runner for candidates right now, all because of this lovely little package I put together for you.
I don't have a reason to go in a different direction, so I'll stick with you on this one.
So we only have like 15 days here left, just a couple of days to find
we're
out.
getting close. National Roller Coaster Day here is August 16th, and apparently in the metric system, 16 is equal to 15. I guess that's their August 15th. August 15th announcement. We're really, 2 weeks away by the time we're watching this year.
So as always, thank you for joining us here on COASTER-net Update. We will keep you apprised of all the latest news and rumors going around. So as always, I'm Andrew Barczyk from Chicago, Illinois.
And Danny Miller from Binghamton, New York.
Right on, Red Warriors.
See you guys.